we are about to wrap up, right? We are about to wrap up. That's it. A full day of amazing discussions, amazing keynotes, amazing people. Did you enjoy it? Are you sure? What did you drink, for God's sake? It is about to have our final session, and I will tell you something which I really mean. You can quote me, you can record me, and I'll say what I mean. The two ladies I'm inviting on that very stage, regardless of, move things, regardless of who they are now, are above all amazing human beings and top of the top in what they do. One of them has dedicated her life educating children age 1st till 12th grade and made it possible for one day, for many years already, for one day, all of them to experience what it is to be a top executive in a company, serving the junior achievement in Bulgaria for a long time. The other one I've met through people I trust, and she's been involved in education also for a very long time and making great things. That's the reason I met her. Currently, both of them, one or the other way, have executive power to lead Bulgaria to where I dream, and I'm sure we all dream together. Now, let's give a warm applause to the Minister of Innovation, who is currently here with us, regardless that she had to be somewhere else. She promised me and she came. Please give a warm welcome to my dear friend, Milena Stoycheva. Thank you so much for coming here. Thank you.
Where else?
And to the Deputy Minister of Education, Natalia Miteva.
Where would you like me to? Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining. Please, ladies, have a seat.
Where?
Well, let's make it whatever you want.
Okay.
All right. Okay, I'll sit here on the different color. Thanks so much for joining. Now, let's start immediately. First of all, there are no questions prepared. And I will be asking you questions which I believe are relevant and important for Bulgaria, and you will answer them as much as you believe that it is something that you can do in order to fulfill your current role and comply with protocol. And I'm not a protocol person at all. So let's start first. Milena, so far Bulgaria is terrible. The last on the rank of attracting investments, foreign investments, and definitely not in the best shape of making innovations spur, regardless of the amazing work we all have done in the NGO sector, regardless of the amazing ecosystem we have, we're still really not doing well on a global stage. But that's why we are here, to make a change. You are heading now the most important ministry of Bulgaria with the right funding, with the right approach. Where do you see Bulgaria in 2-3 years from now?
Okay, thank you, Plamen. First, I want to say that where else could I be but here? This is the place of the entrepreneurs, of the investors, of the people who are creating the future. And my role, current role as the Minister of Innovation and Growth, I see as a continuation of the work we've been doing, because I feel really a part. I'm extremely passionate about making Bulgaria the next place for the new innovations that are through high tech, through high value, intellectual and human capital investments. And I believe we as a community, but we also as a country, as people, have the potential to create this new brand for Bulgaria. And it's really my dream to see Bulgaria finally at this level, where we can show the talent of the people who are the best, to me, one of the best in the region, but also in Europe, and who through their creativity, resilience, very hard work, but also extreme, I believe, good imagination and talent, they can make that happen. So the future to me, as you know, I'm an irreparable optimist, invincible optimist.
Yeah, I think that's the sickness that we all have here. You know.
Yes, the future to me is looking bright. I believe that we can, if we really join forces, and I hope that you see that in this new government, there are people who come with their expertise. Just like I joined this ministry, I jumped into that role with no earlier warning. So the idea was that we bring in that expertise, we bring the values that we have been supporting, and we work together as a team to promote this new face of Bulgaria. So the Ministry of Innovation and Growth, as you know, is a young ministry. It's actually a startup ministry, I can definitely say that. And maybe this is a great opportunity, because it is a startup ministry, that we shape it and we pivot in the best way to position Bulgaria as a place for high-tech innovation, also for deep tech innovation, for placing specific sectors that we are good at, and the assets that Bulgaria has at the forefront, so that we can be attractive for people both to invest, but also to experience and to love Bulgaria. And to me, this is the magic mix that we can provide. The ministry has actually a number of instruments which we are planning to use in support of the entrepreneurial ecosystem. There is a 1 billion resource through the fund of funds that will be open to different entrepreneurs, to innovators in some of the sectors that we have identified already as key sectors for the economy, like high-tech, manufacturing, creative industries. And I was very fascinated by what Ralph presented here, but I think Bulgaria could be one of the destinations also, as we all know, for gaming industry and for the next level of entertainment industry through our digital skills. We are also planning to have a very strong focus on supporting the rise of all of the regions and removing the fragmentation that we have in the country, so that all of the whole country can be attractive in its own special assets for investment. And we are going to have a focus also on the green, digital, and social transition. So these are priorities, both for the fund of funds and also for the two programs for competitiveness, both competitiveness in companies and organizations, and the other one is competitiveness and innovation in companies, organizations, small and medium and big enterprises, and the other one is called science and business for innovation. These two programs have a funding resource of 2.5 billion. So this is already adding to the big financial resource. And the last one is through the recovery plan, there is another 500 million. As you can see, this is a lot of financial support. Now, to me, the art will be how exactly we find the best match in terms of structure and system, so that it really empowers the entrepreneurs to become the forerunners in our economy. And you should be assured that I am going to make sure that we provide all of the possible instruments and forces in order to achieve that. This is something we strongly believe in the ministry, and we think that the next wave of innovation is really a result of the entrepreneurial efforts of all the people who want to make this their life and career.
Thank you so much, Minister. Actually, you answered all my questions so far. What's the amount of resources we have? Because it's a very old and very true saying that money attracts money. So the more money there are, the more money could be attracted. What we try to do here together and bring it to the table, because that's always a co-investment. That is what the big money selects and chooses and prefers to do. So if there are these resources, that's a great starting point. Now, hopefully, the question will be to be really used in the way that must be, and with you heading, I don't question it. So the question is how fast you can act. But now turning to Natalia.
Maybe I can just add here that to me, the biggest challenge that we have, which I hope we will manage, is to put the money where the content is. Where we say we have the power. So let's see, we're going to try to do that and hope that your support and your contribution, you're invited to join, will make this happen.
It used to be that Bulgaria was the net donor of talents. I'm not sure if it is the case as of today. I'm not sure how many talents we managed to keep here, unless those that are really committed like us to stay in Bulgaria. We are like grounded in Bulgaria. But we are not counted, obviously. But there are these three very important factors, if you ask me as an investor, and when I look at countries, what's the talent count and how the country makes sure this talent's there? Was the talent attraction index, how much talents we make every country manages to attract to a country? And then what's the level of investment attracted, foreign investments? That these three tell the whole story. Natalia, you've been with education like since I know you. Your recent job was with Google, responsible for education programs, EMEA. Very proud of you, of what you're doing and the way you're doing it. Now with the government, Deputy Minister of Education, what's the level of the talents we have? I mean, you can both answer this question, because obviously Milena, through the minister, through the JA, she has a very good understanding of the talent capacity of the country. But what do you find now? What is Bulgaria now? And the same question, where do you see the education system hopefully, finally, getting on par with the current reality that we face?
Thanks for having me. Thanks for being here after such a long and inspirational day. You probably can't handle too much more talking, so let's get to the point.
Let's get to the point.
Right.
Directly.
So, number one, this is a fantastic country to be in, to raise talent, to invest, and to grow a company.
True.
No doubt about that. So our job as leaders in the education area is to think like investors, which not as an administration. So how can we invest our resources in the most efficient way to produce outcomes and results? And for us, more often than so, the results are defined as talent or learning outcomes. And that hasn't been the approach necessarily just because educational systems are very traditional. They focus on inputs, so what we put in the process, and immediate outputs, how many people come out of it, and so on and so forth. And it is incredibly difficult, or sometimes impossible, usually takes a long time and very expensive, to try to identify what is the causality between certain investments and the learning outcomes, right? So is this program producing those mathematicians? Is that investment going to create the new startup founders? So we need to think about educational investments as a portfolio of investments and of work leading out to the outcomes. So where we stand right now is we have many paradoxes in Bulgaria, but let me just talk about one of them. We have a very high level of mathematical talents and technical talents, and you may be aware that they lead the world scientific Olympiads in math and science. And in fact, the dean of the undergraduate admissions at Harvard many years ago said that if you want to look for great mathematicians, try looking in Bulgaria. And there could be many other examples. And at the same time, our sort of average level in math is very low. We had some really uninspiring results come out today about 7th grade external evaluations, which I'm gonna not share with you so we can keep up the positive sort of vibe. Yeah. So the point is that we need to make sure that that the rising tide lifts all and that we raise the average level of our students. Because we have a generation in our education system today that is very different, unfortunately, from the generation that is teaching them. And the methods are adapting very slowly to the realities of how our brains work, how neuroscience works, and how learning happens. So we are just, traditionally sitting in this part of the world that is very traditional about education, and that is changing very slowly. So I want to call on you today to help us understand how, for example, AI, which has been one of the topics of this forum, can help us equip today's teachers and professors with the right resources to where they can help each and every student grow their talents, to where we can have the right tools in the classroom to support immediate formative feedbaach, save admin time for teachers, and have them invest their time in instructional design or specific targeted feedback to each and every student. So to keep that short, as I promised, I feel we have a long way to go, and education, at least on behalf of this leadership right now, would be very open to partnering with the tech sector to really work for results and make the best of our educational investments, which are again sizable, but we can also very well just invest them without much result, and we don't want to be doing that. We want to be investing for the future and building skills that can fuel the economy in the very, very near term.
I have my two sons here. One is 12 and the other one is 14. We actually took them off the training system, the education system, a few years back. They were just taking exams, and now we brought them back. And again, I identify the system as it is now as very old-fashioned and not creating really, they don't really get them ready for what is happening now, not to say what is happening tomorrow. What will be the quantitative results you expect at the end of your tenure? What do you want to see from the education system? And I know you're not responsible for education.
But maybe I can say something about it, right?
Of course, I know you can say a lot. That's why I'm asking you both, because that's about the talents.
Yes. I think here is another maybe good thing that's happening, because I think it's for the first time that we're seeing that the Ministry of Innovation and Growth needs to work very closely with the Ministry of Education, because we're living in the knowledge economy. And I see here in the audience some of the good output of the educational system. I see some of the J alums or other entrepreneurs and leaders of startups who used their best skills to put as an asset and capital to start their companies. And I think this could be one of the best outputs. We are planning, and we have been working with the Ministry of Education on several of the, let's say, key future laws and strategies. One of them is the law on innovation, and the other one would be the law on investment. The law on innovation is developed jointly with the Ministry of Education and Science, because we believe that research and development, R&D, also scientific publications and scientific work and commercialization of science really needs to be at the basis of these innovations that will be forming the bigger part of the, let's say, the focus that we would like to have, as well as having a lot of the entrepreneurs participating jointly with other players in the and startups, jointly with other players of the ecosystem to co-create and to work in the open innovation model that we know is very successful around the world and the successful economies. And the last point I wanted to make that education is no longer about knowledge or learning also, or let's say mastering knowledge and information. It's about also mastering skills. And we should look really at the way to recognize the mastering of these skills and to think of disruptive models on how to support those who continue learning, because without learning, we will not be able to stay relevant in the economy and also to develop the innovations that we were talking about.
You see, it's so easy to talk to these two ladies. I mean, we speak the same language. I just fear that you are too young on this post and you still speak like a normal person.
But of course, what
yeah,
else
well,
would
I hope
we do?
that in 1 year you will be speaking like the same normal
You
person.
bet.
After the administration starts.
I am not planning to change that.
Deputy Minister, what is your take on that?
So you asked about the measuring our results, right? Or
yes.
what we're
the quantitative part
well,
of it.
I don't want to disappoint you, but there isn't such a measure. But I'm going to commit to something today. So let me do that so that we can keep ourselves accountable.
Qualitative.
So one of the things we're aiming at is improving the Bulgaria PISA ranking. And the PISA is the international assessment based on skills for 15-year-olds that's carried out by the OECD, Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. And Bulgaria hasn't ranked too well, but the worst part is that there is a very strong correlation between socioeconomic background and educational outcomes. And we need to break that circle. I mean, it really shouldn't matter where you come from and what zip code you have, to use the American term, or where you're based in Bulgaria. Education should be equalizing those socioeconomic factors. So we want to improve at least a couple of points up the ranking, and it's competitive because there are countries. Let's just talk about our club here, such as the Northern European countries and some Central European, that are very, very competitive and thinking way ahead of the game, and we're still thinking about catching up. So it's a mentality problem, unfortunately. But our measure, number one measure, would be to improve relative to the peer club with at least five ranking points, which would be about like a 20-30% increase over a 4-year period. And the other measure would be related to how we can fuel talent to young tech companies or to the entrepreneurship area. And that would be to try to increase the share of students that have, number one, a broad spectrum of skills, including self-learning and self-development skills and transversal skills, but also some good digital literacy and tech skills. And in addition to that, increasing the share of incoming university students that are in the STEAM professions or specialties in technical sort of majors. The reason is that we have a sort of a skewed balance towards humanities, nothing wrong with that, but with the sociology and psychology as the number 2 majors at universities, it's just a little hard to fuel talent in those sectors of the economy that really add a lot of economic value. So we're already working gradually toward that to increase sort of that admission, but that needs to start quite early. So to get there, we have a lot of work across the educational levels, and that starts with the younger years, where number one goal is to just keep the fire, alive, to keep the motivation for learning and for exploration, and not kill that throughout the educational system.
Ladies and gentlemen, the reason I invited those two ladies is just to show off the area in front of you, right? That's a show off. They're amazing, aren't they? What else can we do? You heard everything. Do I need to ask more questions? I promised the minister that she had to be at another very important diplomatic event, and she's here with us. I really feel very grateful, and I am very grateful for joining us here, both of you. maybe final words from you too, so we can wrap up, because I mean, you speak the language and the words and the emotion that we all want to transcend to the world, to send to the world actually, and to make sure that we are there really on the right path. With you ladies, it feels great. So any final words that you want to leave for the audience and for this Webit, because we are wrapping up. That's the last panel.
I think that what I would like to pass on is that give us the trust to work together, and that this will be a process of partnership. I very much believe that we are living in the era of partnership, and without collaboration and without sharing a common vision, we cannot do this. It's time that both public and private sector work together, because we have a lot of challenges and they are global, and in order to solve them we have to be entrepreneurial. So my call to you is unleash the entrepreneurial talent and part in yourselves, because everyone can be an entrepreneur in their sector, and this will be the way to grow, to develop both personally and professionally as a sector. And you can count on the fact that we will keep that spirit and this DNA in the ministry with the team that we have created. So I will tell you per aspera ad astra, which means through hardships to the stars. And thank you for inviting me here.
Thank you, Minister. Thank you. Deputy Minister?
Well, from my 5 days in the public sector, I've learned that it's very easy in a leadership position in the public sector to start liking yourself a lot. So I really want to make sure I spend a lot of time with people like you, so you can ask the hard questions, because that's really the only conversation we need to have. And in leaving this forum today, I want to remember John Dewey's, a great educator, words about education is not preparation for life, it is life itself. So I challenge you to remind us of that and keep us accountable. Thank you.
I'm very grateful to both of you, and I just want to say we all follow each other's social feeds, and you know very well my thoughts about the lack of government, the lack of governance in Bulgaria. And I would only say that my hope and all my energy and our energy as a global organization are with you. So to hopefully in a very accountable time, I myself change my attitude and say, this is the government, this is the country that I see as a potential leader. So far, I only see it as a place for philanthropy to support, but with leaders like you, I can imagine it could be amazing. And think about, we all work together to make the miracle, and it wouldn't be a miracle. It will be, what was it, hard work, but
yes,
a great success.
But so looking forward to the stars.
To the success,
yes.
ladies. Thank you so much. Thank you. Благодаря ти. Благодаря ти, че беше с нас. Знам, че много бързаш. Благодаря много.